Good afternoon. We are pleased that you could join us for the webinar explaining the new Marketplace Sustainability Award categories for 2013. Before we start, just a bit on the technology. All participants have been muted. Throughout the webinar, you will be able to type in questions to be answered at the end. You can choose to send your questions to everyone or the organizer. Please send all questions to the organizer, as then I can collate all the questions and pose them to the speaker at the end. We can also unmute you if you just use the raised hand function, and you can pose your questions to the speaker at the end. If you have any problems with the technology, please send a message to the organizer via the chat facility, and we will try and see what we can do to help. I will now hand you over to Maria, and there will be time at the end for questions.
Thanks, Rox. I'm Maria Gray. I'm the Environment Campaign Manager at Business in the Community, also joined by Michelle Gallant, Events and Engagement Manager at the Marketplace team at Business in the Community. Before we go into each separate category, we're going to go through some background just to the awards and explain why they've changed. But for purposes of those of you that might just be interested in one or two awards, the order that we're going to go through the new ones are the Sustainable Supply Chain Award. So we'll be talking about that for about 20 minutes. The Customer Engagement on Sustainability Award, again for about 20 minutes. And then Marketplace Sustainability Leadership. But we'll have time for questions at the end, so we recommend that it might be best just to listen to the whole webinar. So just by way of background then, for those of you that have entered categories in the past, you'll realise that there's some changes this year. So previous categories that we had in the Environment and Marketplace teams were the Responsible Supply Chain Award, the Sustainable Marketing and Innovation Award, and the Environmental Leadership Award. Although we're not running those exact awards again, you'll see when we go through the criteria that there are some similarities, and it would still be useful for those thinking of entering to look up case studies from previous awards online, the BITC website, as information in there will still be helpful to help you understand what we're looking for in winning companies. So why have we changed these awards? It's mainly to show an involvement in the focus of our campaign and the merge of our Marketplace and Environment teams within Business in the Community. Our current campaign goal is for every business to thrive through identifying how their product or service offer, supply chain and customer networks can contribute to creating more sustainable lifestyles to everyone a business touches, both today and in the future. So each of our new 3 categories reflects different aspects of that same goal. Before I go through each category in detail, we just wanted to confirm eligibility and general tips for all awards that will be useful for you all. So just to confirm, all 3 categories are open to every business that has a presence within the UK. And as long as the programme is initiated in the UK, the impact can obviously cover countries around the world. The word count for each category is 3,000 words, and this is for all sections 1 to 5. There's not a separate word count for each section, so you can allocate the words as you wish, but it's probably worth bearing in mind the percentage score for each question when doing so, and we'll cover those when we go through the criteria later on. Also worth noting that you can cross-reference across sections, so if you feel like you need to repeat a point or reiterate something, you can cross-reference to another section rather than putting in the same text again. You can also add tables and graphs if these help to demonstrate something. But please bear in mind that assessors will be reading paper copies of your applications, so do only include anything that really adds value and ensure it can be seen clearly. The deadline for all 3 categories is 6 PM on the 1st of March, and unfortunately we don't accept any extensions. Before we go into each category, just to reiterate what paperwork is useful for you to have when completing an application, and hopefully you might have this in front of you for the award you're interested in. So once you go onto the BITC website, so it's bitc.org.uk/awards, you'll see there's a registration button at the top. If you register there, you can download the application pack for any of the awards that you're interested in. In each of those packs, you'll find the following. An introduction. This is 1 or 2 pages summarising each award and what we're looking for in winners. And we'll be going through those for these categories shortly. Sections 1 and 2 are the same for each category. They're unscored, they're pretty self-explanatory. It's really just some background for the assessors to explain what your business is and what it does. Sections 3 to 5 are the scored sections, and we'll be going through those for each of these 3 award categories in a second. After all the questions, there'll be a few pages of guidance notes. These offer further advice for all questions. Please do read these. We'll be sort of pulling out some points from these in this webinar now, but it's worth you going through all of those when completing your application. The last 2 or 3 pages of the application pack are a scoring guide. This is what the assessors will be using when they score your application. So do refer to this when reading over your entry, so you can check you've included everything that you can.